The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, you'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
The Derbyshire Dales series is sponsored by Gainsborough Cycles, 01427 617 752. For all your cycling needs, this is your one-stop shop located at 20 Ropery Road, Gainsborough, or online at gainsboroughcycles.com. There's a link in the description. Gainsborough Cycles, ask for Trevor Halstead. Welcome back to the Derbyshire Dales again, people. Now, behind the camera here, there's a massive expanse of flat ground. But trust me, if you want to walk through this village from east to west, it's anything but flat. I've just done that to get to my start point. I'm right at the western end of this place, and thankfully it's going to be downhill on the way back into the village centre. Very linear, this place. Lots to talk about though. This is Flagg. Flagg, peat turf. Next up in the Dales we've got Flagg, which derives its name from the Old Norse word for a sod or turf of peat. It's almost exactly halfway between Bakewell and Buxton in the area known as the White Peak. 1,000 feet above sea level, Flagg is recorded in the Domesday Book as Flaggen and is believed to have originally been a Viking settlement engaged primarily in lead mining. Evidence of this can still be seen today with many spoil heaps and disused mine shafts in the area. Well dressing has been a thing here for centuries. Well, this is Derbyshire after all. In the mid-19th century there were two wells, one opposite Ivy House Farm and the other near Edge Close Farm. Today, Edge Close Farm has one of Flagg's best known landmarks, a pet crematorium. Generally, Flagg is a farming village these days. As well as farms, houses and cottages, it has an Elizabethan manor house called Flagg Hall, which is not open to the public, but it can boast a caravan and campsite within its grounds. The former Unitarian Church, built in 1838, is now a private dwelling. There is a Methodist chapel too though. It stands next to the former village school, which is now a nursery. Flagg is also known for its point-to-point races held annually on Easter Tuesday by the High Peak Hunt. On one occasion, King Edward VIII, who was at the time the Prince of Wales, rode at the races. Set amid a patchwork of rich pasture enclosed by mile upon mile of dry stone walls created from fossil-enriched limestone, Flagg is the epitome of the Derbyshire Dales. Let's go and see it. We start at the northern end of the village at Edge Close Farm. This has a pet crematorium, which is not the most commonplace of landmarks in this country. It's licensed by the local authority and approved by DEFRA. They offer their services throughout Derbyshire and the surrounding regions. Edge Close is one of the few crematoria of its type that deal with equines. They will even collect your horse or pony on an individual basis in their own specialist vehicle and trailer. Every pet has an individual cremation, ensuring at the end of the process you only receive your pet's ashes. They use top quality polished timber caskets to house them. Edge Close Farm used to have a tea rooms. It's a little walk away though, so between here and there, let's fill in some information about the village we're in. It's reputed that Flagg is situated on the site of a Viking settlement, probably established due to the rich veins of lead ore in the area, the scars of which can still be seen today. Turf cutting was another form of occupation, and it's thought that the name Flagg derives from a flag or sod of earth. Flagg is surrounded by many wonderful paths and tracks. It's little wonder then that the Limestone Way walk passes straight through the village. Flagg remains traditional with several working farms. Edge Close is just one example of many. Sheep and cattle graze in the meadows, and in summer farmers can be seen working well into the evening to harvest hay and silage. Twice daily, the cattle herds of Flagg's farms can be seen trudging backwards and forwards to be milked. Driving along country lanes splattered with cowpats might be annoying, but it's acceptable out here. After all, would it not be the end of a farming community when its fields become devoid of cows? Now, everything you've seen so far has been on the left-hand side of the road. On the right-hand side is this, Flagg Moor, and this has a few things to tell us too. Flagg Moor is famous for two things: its Easter point-to-point races and the peak dry stone walling competition. Here's a bit more about both of those. Flagg Moor rises to 1,000 feet above sea level. On Easter Tuesday every year, on a gentle rise which provides a natural grandstand, Flagg's cross-country point-to-point is Derbyshire's equivalent to the Grand National. It's said that King Edward VIII, when he was Prince of Wales, actually rode here. As for the peak dry stone walling contest, that's held every 3 years at Flagg. In August 1938, a dilapidated old wall close to Back of the Hill Farm was pulled down, and that was the setting for the competition. Using both old and new stone, competitors had to erect 4.5 yards of wall to a height of 57 inches between the hours of 10 AM and 5 PM. It's estimated that a skilled waller can build 7 yards of wall in a day. A special section was held for wallers under 18 years of age, and to judge the walls, marks were awarded and a distinguished visitor was invited to present the prizes. It was once said by one judge that if the walls of Jericho had been built by the competitors, they wouldn't have fallen at the sound of the trumpet. Not every business in Flagg centres on farming. This little industrial estate off the main road houses one that might interest another set of people. Up here you'll find the Vintage Model Company. They manufacture and sell model kits. Their online tagline is "Traditional model planes for you to build and fly." They're all made from laser-cut balsa wood and they're shipped worldwide. They have a huge range of model supplies, so if you're into this sort of thing, Flagg is where you need to be. Flagg has two chapels, although this one, the former Unitarian Chapel, is no longer in use. In 2004, this was leased to the Church of England, but it was offered for sale into private ownership later that year. It was founded in 1838 and had seating for 130, although the estimated average congregation was around the 20 to 30 mark. Not much more is known about this one, but the second chapel has a lot more to tell us. It's located at the crossroads, which you could define as the centre of Flagg Village. Well, barring a car right at the beginning of this walk, I've had Flagg pretty much all to myself so far. It's been nice and peaceful. All I can really hear in the distance is a road and some birdsong. So it's quite nice actually, walking through this place. We're going to continue walking down the hill. We're almost at the village centre where most of the important bits and bobs here in Flagg are, including the school, a Methodist chapel and Flagg Hall. Dating from 1833, this here is Flagg's Nursery School. It was originally a normal village school, but as numbers dwindled, it became financially unviable. Before that, however, it was the Sunday school building associated with the chapel next door. Some sources reckon it was even Flagg's original Methodist chapel. It predates the actual chapel by 50 years. Dating from 1883, this was Flagg's primitive chapel. Services do continue here today, but they alternate with a sister chapel at Moneyash just down the road. According to the 1884 Primitive Methodist magazine, Flagg's chapel was built to replace an old one, which had become inconvenient and unsafe. Could that building now be the nursery school? It seems likely. So we've got a school, we've got a Methodist church, we've got a bus stop, and we've also got a defibrillator. I'm pretty sure you saw that while we were talking about the chapel. But one thing Flagg doesn't have anymore is a pub. It used to have one, but unfortunately these days it's closed. It was up there. Let's talk a bit about it. In one way, Flagg is a dry village, as there's no longer a public house here. The Plough Inn closed its doors a few years ago. In 2006, the inn was, in theory at least, closed for refurbishment. The single-storey extension next to the entrance has been removed since then, but the pub has never reopened. It was run for generations by the Needham family. Census and directory records show that a Thomas, 2 Richards, and a John ran the place from 1885 or earlier until at least 1941. The Needhams also feature in the history of the Bull in the Thorn, which is just outside Flagg Parish on the A515. That's been in existence since 1472, when it was recorded as the Bull. From the 1830s to the 1890s, it's variously referred to as the Bull's Head or Hurdlow House, after which the title Bull in the Thorn seems to have stuck. Its doors finally closed in 2015. Up a track opposite the chapel is Flagg Hall. It's situated at the top of an avenue of fabulous mature trees, and it's thought to date back to the 16th century. It had associations with the Dales and Finns, who were old Derbyshire families. The most noted resident of Flagg Hall, however, is the haunted skull, which is still said to be contained within. Legend has it that should this skull be removed or buried, great misfortune will befall the owners of the hall. An attempt was made to bury the skull at Chelmorton many years ago, but when the funeral cortege neared the village, the horses refused to proceed, and despite any encouragement by the coachman, they reared and stamped so much that he was forced to return the vehicle to the hall, and the skull was replaced. The true identity of the skull is a mystery, although one theory is that a surgeon who at one time lived at the hall and practiced locally obtained the skull from resurrectionists for experimental reasons. Well, that, as they say, is that. We are all the way through Flagg from one end to the other. So time to pick up the car and head to another village here in the Derbyshire Dales. Now, the next one here in the Dales is one that we have mentioned before, because we've actually been to the landmark, which is actually in Ashford-in-the-Water, that this one's famed for, I suppose. It's weird how parish boundaries work. We'll see how it works tomorrow. And that's Flagg, folks. What a great little village, all in all. You'll do well to find a place in the White Peak that rivals Flagg's community spirit. Next up, though, is a place that might try. Join me tomorrow as we continue to the east. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.